It's not every day you get to open up a brand new EU book. Okay, so it's not exactly an EU book, but it is something very closely related. Right here we have our package, and this contains the unauthorized complete Legends timeline. Let's get to it. Alright, here we have it. The unauthorized definitive Star Wars Legends timeline by Trevor Davey. So this right here is a very complete timeline of everything in the EU, breaking things down by chapter, by, comic issue, sometimes by, pages, as a lot of the RPG stuff and short stories, and with lots of endnotes as well. This is going to be a very helpful resource for me when piecing together Shadows of the Empire, getting the chronology correct, making sure, nothing is in the wrong order, especially because we're dealing with such a big multimedia project. Let me actually see here. I'm going to go to where Shadows of the Empire is. Yeah, so it looks like here we start with, so the Empire Strikes Back ends, and then it goes into the Shadows of the Empire comic. Some of the Ewok stuff takes place at the same time. I'm not really going to reference that in Shadows of the Empire because they're very separate. And then there are lots of short stories here included. It's got all the different authors, all the different dates, things that were released, all the different short stories. I mean, literally down to the page and panel. And every single short story that takes place in this period, all the different, the Marvel comics as well as the Dark Horse comics, and all the RPG short stories from the West End Games books, video games like X-Wing Alliance, which take place at the same time. This is some really good stuff. So the book overview says, Trevor Davey is the co-host of the Star Wars Archives podcast and keeper of the timeline at Utini.com. He has spent his entire life consuming Star Wars media and has read over 1,000 Star Wars books and comics. Compiled here for the first time in print is his life's work, the complete timeline order of every Star Wars story ever written between 1976 and 2014. Over 1,000 separate stories with over 4,500 separate timeline entries accompanied by over 1,500 footnotes. This is the most comprehensive and detailed timeline of the Legends era ever written. One thing I will say is I don't really love the word Legends. I always prefer Expanded Universe. That's always what I'm going to call it. But, take your wins where you can get them. This has literally everything from, 1976 when George Lucas published the first novel, Star Wars from the Adventures of Luke Skywalker, all the way until the very final publication in 2014, which I believe was the Star Wars Legacy 2 comics. One thing I do wonder is if they have some of the stuff that's been released after. There's a very few things that have come out after, in the Marvel comics there was issue 108, which came out, I believe, in 2018. Yep, so it looks here like they got Star Wars issue 108, Crimson Forever. That is included in this, as well as a lot of the Star Wars The Old Republic short stories, which have continued to be published. I wonder if they have some stuff like Lightsider and Supernatural Encounters in here, and Heart of the Jedi. I am very curious to know if those were included. Start by looking for Lightsider here. Yep, so Lightsider is included in here, and I'm guessing if Lightsider is included in here, Heart of the Jedi has to be included in here as well. Let's see here. So we have Return of the Jedi. So very shortly after that. So this would be right after Truce at Bakura, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so Heart of the Jedi is also included in here. Now I'm going to look one last time here for Supernatural Encounters. Just see if that got referenced in here. That would be just after Dark Nest. So it does not look like Supernatural Encounters made it in here. I do understand kind of the nature of that. I mean, Supernatural Encounters is a beast in and of its own right. I mean, look, Supernatural Encounters, these are 3 very beefy books, and they cover thousands of years of Star Wars history, so no surprise that those weren't included there. But after even just a cursory overview, the definitive Star Wars Legends timeline is very comprehensive, covering pretty much everything you can think of. Like I said, the only notable exception is Supernatural Encounters, but especially, given how recently that came out and how recently this came out, that was to be expected. But, I mean, Supernatural Encounters, the present-day story, takes place entirely in between Dark Nest and Fate of the Jedi, and I believe when I was looking through here, I didn't even see any short stories in that time period. So the timeline there should be pretty easy to piece together. Of course, all of the lore discussed is Supernatural Encounters of events that happened in the past. That would be a little bit more challenging, but a lot of it does take place in pretty dry areas of the EU, like the Pius D era, for instance. A lot of stuff that's in Cult Encounters. A lot of that stuff takes place in these very dry areas where, the timeline is a little easier to piece together. But this is definitely going to be a major resource for me as I go through Shadows of the Empire and in making other expanded universe fan film adaptations in the future. One notable exception of material that was not included in this book is Star Wars The Clone Wars, the TV series, and all of its tie-in books and comics are not included in here. Among the EU fandom, Star Wars The Clone Wars and books like Siege, Gambit, and some of the Star Wars The Clone Wars tie-in graphic novels are highly debated, let's just say, in terms of how they fit into the EU, especially because there are some major differences between the Clone Wars Multimedia Project and the Star Wars The Clone Wars timeline. This book goes with the Clone Wars Multimedia Project and excludes the Star Wars The Clone Wars timeline. Unfortunately, this also includes one of my favorite Clone Wars books, which is Skywalkers. Now, this briefly kind of ties into Star Wars The Clone Wars, the TV series, but connects very closely with Star Wars Marvel Annual Issue Number 1, which was released in 1977. You can find this on Amazon for $19.99 right now. As this is an unauthorized Star Wars timeline publication, I don't know if it's going to be taken down at any point. I know with Heart of the Jedi, Lightsider, and Supernatural Encounters, all of those did not last very long on Amazon, so I would recommend getting your copy sooner rather than later. Who knows, it could be up for years and indefinitely, but you never know with these kinds of things. But the print quality here is pretty good. I mean, it is a paperback. I always prefer hardcovers, but even for something like a timeline like this, something that you can flip through very quickly, is a big plus. And the color on the cover looks really nice. The gloss is very good. It's a very smooth cover. And the artwork, though very simple, is, all you really need. It's got a simple line through it, timeline. Also, I am currently wearing my Black Sun t-shirt. You can find this shirt and others over at our merch store. The link will be in the description. And we have 2 brand new designs for Dash Rendar and the Outrider to go alongside our Thrawn design, Beep Boop Bop design, Prince Xizor design, and this Black Sun t-shirt design. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, comment below your thoughts. And if you're able, please consider becoming a member on Patreon. We just added a brand new $2 a month tier with all the benefits of the old $5 a month tier. All the other tiers got upgraded, so they're all in a much higher status right now, getting much better benefits all the way around. The proceeds from this will be directed towards the Shadows of the Empire fan film project, so if you want to invest in that project and see it come out faster, look better, all that stuff, please consider becoming a member on Patreon today. And if a monthly membership isn't really your style, you can always go to Ko-Fi as well and make a one-time donation there. Or you could also support the channel and the Shadows of the Empire fan film project by getting one of our t-shirts, like this Black Sun shirt, in our merch store. And if you haven't already, please check out the most recent update on our Shadows of the Empire fan film, which you can check out right here. Thank you all for watching, and may the Force be with you.